Hope you're doing good. Michael back with another video. Back here as I said I was going to be yesterday, today with my Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus battery tips and tricks. The current case of the day is this Rinky Frost matte, if you call it that, matte clear back fusion case. Links will be in the description for you guys. I've been enjoying this case, able to show this Thanos purple off again. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, keep in mind, when we talk about these battery tips and tricks, you don't have to take advantage of every single one of them. A lot of these will be extreme tips and tricks. So my advice, of course, is if you're not, of course, going to use all of them, try to find a good balance between some of the features, some of the advice, some of the tips, some of the tricks for your phone. That way you can still find a good balance between battery life and performance. So what is the first thing we're going to talk about? But before we do, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys ignite the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. It's all free. That way you know it's my video, so you and I can sit back, chillax, see what's cracking. Now, let's get into wallpapers. And this is going to apply for both the lock screen wallpaper as well as the home screen wallpaper. Now, if you want to take advantage of battery life for sure, use an OLED or just straight out blacked out wallpaper for your home screen as well as for your always on display and for your lock screen. The reason why you'll do that is because the pixels are turned off. With these devices, they use OLED panels, so that means the LEDs will not be lit, thus no drainage from the display. That will significantly improve your battery life. Another tweak you can do is with your lock screen, do not use a live wallpaper. That destroys the battery much more than using a static wallpaper. So those are a few key things right there already that you can take advantage of. And the other thing you can take advantage of is not using always on display. In order to achieve that, you go to settings, you come in here to your settings, and upon my phone not freaking out on me, we scroll here until you see lock screen and AOD. What you want to do is turn off always on display. If you turn that off, you won't have to worry about drainage because the screen will be off and it will be up to you to actually trigger the display to turn back on. This is a huge benefit to battery life. A lot of people don't realize that, but you can save yourself upwards of 10 to 15% just by turning this off completely, maybe even 20%, not using the always on display. Great for quick at a glance moments to see if you have notifications, see if you missed any phone calls or messages. A great aesthetic to the device, but it also drains battery. So keep that in mind with your always on display. And of course, if you want to come in here to your wallpaper section and change these wallpapers to pitch black, you will be good to go from a wallpaper's perspective. The next thing we're going to talk about is connections. And what you're going to want to do is come in here to connections. And within connections, you're going to want to turn off Wi-Fi calling. And if you're not on Wi-Fi, you're going to want to turn Wi-Fi off. The reason why you want to turn Wi-Fi off is because it is essentially a form of a frequency in the background that's searching for a Wi-Fi signal to connect to. By having that turned off, you won't have to worry about that signal being pushed or constantly searched for. Now, you can get a little creative and only have this turned on based off location, based off previous Wi-Fi connections. And you can do that by means of routines or maybe even your modes. So you can get granular from that perspective. Maybe if this, then that app, if that's still functional today in 2024, you can take advantage of those certain types of apps or features within the Samsung's settings itself to automatically turn this back on based off of a time or location. But if you ain't worried about that, just turn it off and turn it on when you need to. You'll save battery life. Wi-Fi calling is the same thing. Plus, Wi-Fi calling to me isn't as good as just a straight up phone call off the cellular connectivity. So you'll also save yourself a headache by turning Wi-Fi calling off. The next one is Bluetooth. Turn Bluetooth off. Bluetooth is a radio frequency in the background, and again, that's searching for things. So unless you're connected to a Bluetooth device, I would turn this off. Now, NFC and contactless payments is not a problem, and ultra wideband, I don't necessarily see that as a problem when it comes to battery life. So those are up to you if you want to also turn those on and off if you even use them. So I would keep that in mind as well. And if we want to go into more connection settings, this is one that people often forget about: nearby device scanning. Turn this off. Or you pick one of the two between this and Bluetooth. See, regardless of Bluetooth being on or off, this is still on in the background. But if you turn this off and keep Bluetooth on, then you kind of have a good balance there. But if you don't want either one of them on, and you like to manually trigger your searches for other devices and other Bluetooth connections, just turn both Bluetooth and nearby device scanning off. You will save battery life tremendously with these two changes, because I don't really see people talk about this. Your notification control. Come in here to app notifications and turn off apps you don't use. Like for me, I don't use Android Auto. I don't even know why I have that on. If you turn these apps off, the ones that you don't need in the background, then that's less notifications pinging your device, less vibrations, less alert sounds, less activity, background activity. Then you will save battery life this way as well, because you don't have a lot of apps pinging your phone. It's plain and simple. You'd be surprised at the amount of notifications that can drain 2 or 3% by having 20 notifications in your notification panel. You can save yourself those incremental percentages of battery life over the course of time by just simply turning off certain app notifications. Another big change to battery life is within your display settings. So if you come in a display, first thing I'm gonna do is tell you to trigger dark mode, because on Samsung devices, again, with that OLED display, using dark mode, it pitches black your settings, it pitches black their apps, it pitches black a lot of different other apps, triggered apps, including YouTube. YouTube is triggered with a black background that you can use that will also save you battery life from that perspective. So turning dark mode on will save you a tremendous amount of battery life for sure. I would also say turn on adaptive brightness, because this will affect how bright your display needs to be, not how bright you want it to be. If you turn this on, it will adjust the brightness according to your ambient light. That way you will save display life that way as well. Turn your motion smoothness down from adaptive to standard. If you don't care about 120 hertz, popping it down back to 60, you'll save tremendous battery life that way. That's also a big part of battery life. You'll probably save yourself another 10 to 15% bumping it down to 60 hertz. Just think about that. Two big changes to always on display and your motion brightness or your motion smoothness. Changing those, turning them off or down to 60 hertz will save yourself almost 30% of battery life just that fast. I highly suggest you do so. And with the S24 Plus and the S24 Ultra for that matter, we have Quad HD displays. Well, again, if you're completely fine with Full HD Plus and you don't notice the slight bump in sharpness with Quad HD, bump it down to Full HD Plus, you will save yourself even more battery life, because it's not trying to push that much more pixels. It's not as defined. So Full HD Plus, you'll get away with just fine. So again, saving yourself upwards of 30 to 40% with a Full HD Plus, 60% or 60 hertz refresh rate, and no always on display. Those three big key changes will save yourself so much battery life. It's not even funny. Not to mention the fact that you'll be saving those little incremental percentages in the background with those other tweaks to your connection settings. What a great idea to do here with your Samsung Galaxy S24 device, specifically here with the Plus model. The other thing I can also suggest is your screen timeout. So once I find it here, screen timeout, I have mine set at 5, but if you set yours closer to, like, I think 15 seconds is a little too fast, of course. You put it down and pick it back up, it already went back off. So I would even say somewhere between 30 seconds and a minute, you'll save yourself battery life, because your screen won't simply be on that long. And then you can also turn this off, keep screen on while viewing, because regardless if you're looking at something, it will still trigger your countdown on your timeout. And then if it fades on you, just tap the screen to restart it and then let it naturally go off without having to trigger your front-facing camera to know when you're looking at the device. Great feature here to turn off in less than the amount of time your screen is on. I think these are very good key features to save battery life. And the next thing is within accessibility. So if we go into accessibility, Once we find accessibility, you'd be surprised at how this will also save battery life. Accessibility and visual enhancements. If you come into visual enhancements, you will find reduce animations. This is key, all right? Another key feature. By reducing animations, it's less power being pushed to animate things. So those animations have calmed down, thus less power being drawn from the battery. Another great feature to save battery life on your Galaxy S24 Plus. And of course, we got to get into battery. The battery settings itself. So upon entering here, once we find a battery, let's see, where is it at? Battery. Upon reaching battery, we click on battery, power saving. Now, if you're a person who likes using power saving all day long, then of course you're going to extend your battery that much more. So these are the things that you are in control of, and power saving is on. Now, if you want to leave this on by turning off always on display, go ahead and do that. If you want to limit your CPU speed because you don't need that much CPU power for your daily usage, you can keep that on. You can also decrease your brightness by 10%, and that 10% scale slightly lessens how bright it is, so it slightly dims it. You may not notice it when it's a little brighter, of course, but you'll notice it in more darker settings. And you can even limit apps and home screen. That is definitely an extreme form of power saving, but I can definitely say that these other options are crucial in saving battery life. And so you can use power saving as a way to also save yourself a great deal of battery, thus improving your overall battery health and your daily battery functionality with those power saving features. You can also come in here to background app limits, right? And save stuff by allowing the phone to put apps to sleep or even deep sleep, right? I have 25 in deep sleep right now. Those apps are not doing anything in the background, thus saving me more battery life. You can also, of course, change it to never auto sleep. You can choose specific apps for that if you wanted to. This is another great way to save yourself battery life by limiting background usage. And then battery protection. Now, this is where, again, you can be balanced. You can go extreme. Maximum, your battery will stop charging at 80%. So that's the 80% rule with maximum battery protection. Adaptive just affects how fast it will charge your phone. When will it take advantage of fast charging? And that's depending on basically your sleep wake up cycle. And then basic will basically charge your device back from 95% to 100% without allowing it to really drop all the way back down and continue to recharge it. So it's a trickle charge effect with basic. Any of these will work for sure, and I suggest using one of these. But if you're really into trying to save as much battery life as possible, adaptive or maximum will do the thing for you. Will do the trick for you, okay? So that is battery protection. And also, another thing you can do is if we go into, is it in here? Your charging settings. If you care about your battery health, like even way more so, then turn off certain fast charging capabilities, such as fast charging or fast wireless charging. Those will also help you save or preserve your battery health over the long period of time. And I think using a combination of that with your battery protection settings will do a great deal of saving you a ton of battery life. Performance profile. And once you come into device care, because that's where you're going to find this at, device care, you can always hit that fix button. And as you see, one app with high memory usage. So that's YouTube. Let me go ahead and fix that real quick. This is a great way to also help your battery life out and your overall device care by just, calming things down. No, I'm not finna deep sleep. Why is that memory issue with YouTube? I'm going to skip that for now. However, battery profile. Come in here, change this to light. Prioritize battery life and cooling efficiency when it comes to your processing speed. Light. Put it on light mode. You'll save battery life, as you guys saw again. Sorry about that. That was random. Light prioritizes battery life. So switch to light if you want to continue to save battery life. I think these are really, really good features. And of course, auto restart is back, specifically in auto optimization. Now we have auto restart and we have a restart on schedule. Keeping your battery fresh by customary restarts will also save yourself battery health over the course of your usage with your device. Great settings here, and I'm so glad to see Samsung brought the scheduling back. Even though I'm not using it right now, I was using it back in the past, and that's because I liked it a lot. So auto restart, also good. And the last thing I can show you guys is within advanced features and gestures and Bixby for the most part, but gestures for sure. Turn a lot of these off. If you're not using these, turn these off. You don't need them. You don't need them on. You don't need them on. Matter of fact, I don't need mute with gestures because I don't ever use that. I use palm swipe to capture for sure, but these gestures are basically sensors in the background are waiting to be used. So they're kind of like standby sleeping on the battery. Turn a lot of these off. You don't need them. If you don't need them, if you don't use them, turn them off. I may even turn off the double tap the turn off screen because I typically don't use that one either as much as I like it. But see how easy it is to just toggle it off and then you have nothing to worry about. So by turning off these features, these gestures, you also save yourself incremental battery life in the background. And if I swipe back, we come into Bixby. If you want, you can turn Bixby off. So for me, you can turn Bixby, the voice wake up of Bixby off. See, she's trying to respond now. But you can come in here, you can turn this off, and then she's not saying anything anymore or not responding. See, like, boom, you can do that. You can do use while locked. I can turn that off. Bixby feedback is now off. You can do all this type of stuff. Offline processing doesn't even matter because I basically turned her off. Let's see, personalized Bixby. I guess I can leave that on if I had to. But you can leave the Bixby program all together and you won't have to worry about Bixby anymore. I think for me, it's not a bad idea if I want to, because as much as I had faith in Bixby I just don't use on here anymore, so I don't even technically need Bixby to be used on my device anymore. So for me, I'll make that personal decision as to whether or not I'm gonna leave because I can't make up my mind on camera. But by leaving Bixby is no longer functioning on your device. And what you can do is, as a result of that, come in here, and as you see, my press and hold is now no longer on Bixby, but on power off menu. So that's also some tweaks you can do for your phone while you're actually in the middle of saving battery life, is by doing those things. Visual call effects while you're on the call. I believe you can actually turn this off or not really have it on to save battery life while on a phone call. But these are the top battery features, battery settings, tweaks, tips, and tricks on your device that you can take advantage of in order to save battery life. And my very last tip is to not use so many widgets, because widgets actually sleep a little bit more battery life than people think in the background because they're interactive and they're live. Widgets, like in the case of my battery app or the refreshing, my clock app, or the refreshing of the weather. Google's a stagnant app, so stagnant widgets, so maybe not as much there, but this refreshes the Google News. This refreshes down here. I have a podcast. I have battery that refreshes based off battery life, right? I have my Apple Music widget over here. So there are widgets that seek battery life, and widgets in general seek a little bit more battery life than just an app icon. So limit your usage of widgets and turn this page off. How you do that? Pinch in, swipe over, toggle that off. You will save battery life upwards so much. You'd be surprised at how much longer your phone will last just by tweaking those settings right there. And I'm glad I separated this video out for you guys from my ultimate tips and tricks for the Galaxy S24 Plus, because as you guys see, this is another 20-ish minute video, and I definitely wanted to prioritize and exclusivize the battery information to its own, so that way you can study these tips and tricks, these hints, so that way you can get the most out of your Galaxy S24 Plus, S24, S24 Ultra, Samsung device in general. Most of these settings are applicable to most Samsung devices, including the tablets. So take advantage of these in the best way you can. But again, as always, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys ignite the like button, subscribe to the channel, the notification bell, it's all free. That way you notice my videos, and you and I can sit back and see what's cracking. And let me know down in the comment section below, what are your favorite battery features, or what are some things you do to save battery life on your device? I'd like to know down in the comment section below. So, Micah signing out until the next video. Wait for